Hey, folks, we're going to get ready for our next guest, Mike Newell. Welcome to the Fried Jumbo podcast with Chicken Hawk and Dubs.
Yeah,
right?
baby.
But before we get going with Mike, we just want to take a couple minutes to thank everybody. We've gotten a lot of feedback from friends, non-friends, new people we've met because of doing the podcast.
It's been fun even answering and back and chatting with people. It really is just people we haven't heard from a while coming back at us and talking to us. So it's really great.
We've had a lot of great feedback, and we've enjoyed interacting with a lot of folks. But what we wanted to do before Mike came on today specifically, we wanted to thank you, and we wanted to ask you a favor. We wanted to see if you could subscribe when you click on the YouTube links. So when you're watching one of these videos, these YouTube videos, you can actually, there's a little button in the right-hand corner below the video piece that says subscribe. If you do that, that really helps us because that subscription, eventually, if we have enough people subscribe, will open up other channels and resources that YouTube offers to us to do a little bit better job of this podcast. The other way you can interact is you could do a like or you could do a comment. And every time you like or comment and then we comment back to you, that helps our score with YouTube as well.
I truly believe everybody does need to hear about the people that we bring on here because I think they're really important. It's fun stuff. And the Whiz Kid also said, don't forget about Spotify. What are the other ones, Dubs?
We have Spotify. We have Apple Podcasts. We have Google Play. Anywhere you want. We have iHeartRadio. Anywhere you want to listen to it on audio where it's available. You know, the podcast is available on audio. And you can interact with those audio platforms as well. But specifically on YouTube, you know, that subscription rate really helps get this thing going and can help us pull in guests from different parts of the country or even globally, which we are going to do. But we're doing that primarily with people we know already. We wouldn't mind, you know, having some feedback from you in the audience. If you want to come on here, let us know. Yeah. And we'll try to bring you in and host you on the show.
Yeah, and the more reach we get, we're going to get more guests we don't even know of right now, right? So we're going to get some unique people from all over the world, which is really cool. So then we can all listen to how they grew up too. So it's really important that we get that reach out there.
Yeah, we got to get the base built. So thank you ahead of time, and look forward to interacting with Mike Newell here this afternoon.
Put on your helmets and buckle your chin straps for the wildest podcast held in the Steel City. Dubs and Chicken Hawk will give you a taste of the past in Fried Jumbo.
Okay, welcome to the latest and greatest, right? Newest episode of Fried Jumbo, the podcast of Chicken Hawk and Dubs. We have a special guest here today, Chicken Hawk, by the name of Mike Newell.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Michael.
Newell.
Mike Newell. But Mike and I go way back. When we first got out of college, not first got out of college, but maybe 5 years out of college, we started working for MCI.
Yeah.
Oh, you went to college with him?
No,
right after. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we started working together at MCI Telecommunications. You remember Danny Stu?
Yes, sir. I do remember.
He got me a job, and then Mike came on board. I don't think maybe you got through George Bennell or something.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Back in the MCI, they're not even a company anymore, are they?
They were absorbed by Verizon, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, and that's the end of it. But it was a great time when we were there, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Yes, sir.
Well, you guys were in your 20s during that time, right? Late 20s?
Oh, yeah.
Late 20s?
Maybe mid-20s, late 20s, somewhere in there.
Yep, mid
Mid-20s,
to late 20s.
Yeah.
Right. So it's always a fun time unless, you know.
No, it was great.
You're in
because
trouble.
it was just, you know, going to hit the streets, asking businesses for their, you know, the opportunity to sell data lines and
That's right. Now I remember what
lines.
MCI was all about. I remember you hustling that.
We sold internet service and conferencing.
Conferencing,
And, all that kind of stuff. Mike and I, we had a desk near each other, so we did a lot of gabbing. And then when I went to State Farm, I said, I got to get Mike over here. He'd be great to be, at State Farm. And
yeah.
He's an agent in Bloomfield. How long you been there now?
18 years.
Holy smokes, it's time fly.
Bloomfield, that's like my second or third home. I spent a lot of time there, so we'll get to that.
All right. Sounds good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Todd had a lot of fun over in Bloomfield when we were young. But anyhow, so Mike, I know you well. The audience obviously doesn't know you well. Todd doesn't know you well. Why don't you take us like where you're at now in life? Tell us a little bit about your, family. You have a big family, which is awesome. You're Irishman. So talk about the name. I just love to hear his name, rattle off the names of his kids. You're going to die.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so I'm Mike Newell. I live in Regent Square. I'm married since 1996. My wife Maureen, and I have 6 kids. And so my oldest is Connor, and then followed by Sean. Then there's Kate, Patrick, Mary Margaret, and Nora.
There's no Tonys in there, man. That's all Irish, buddy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
You're missing like an Aaron and a Seamus.
Yeah.
Seamus.
Those are like the middle names. I had to throw them in there somewhere.
I can't believe there's got to be a John middle name in there somewhere.
No, it's Sean.
No?
We made that. Listen, my family,
Right.
growing up, there's 7 of us.
Right.
Then you got a John and a Patrick and a Michael and a Tom.
So you're one of the few guys our generation keeping Pittsburgh populated. Is that what you're telling me?
One of the very few. That's right. That's right.
And tell them Maureen's maiden name was what?
Yeah,
McKenna, right?
McKenna.
Wow.
Yep. And she's one of 7 kids as well.
Oh,
about that?
no reason that's why you'd have a big family.
So she's 7, you're 7, so that's 14, and then you have
Yeah.
6 kids. So
Yeah.
I mean, family reunion's got to be crazy.
Yeah.
You have a like a 4-year-old's birthday party, and you can't invite any of the kids' friends because
The whole family's crammed in the house.
There's no room. You know, like, I want to invite my friends. There's no room. There's no room.
It's funny. We just talked to a guy the other day, Shulo. He's from Bloomfield. Well, he's spent part of his life in Bloomfield. Now you're managing a business in Bloomfield, which for our listeners is it was the Little Italy of Pittsburgh, right?
Still considered.
It's still considered. Yeah, it's nice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the pleasure bar there and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's right around the corner.
West
from
Penn Hospital.
Yeah. Children's now's not far. You can spit on it.
Yeah, so you obviously grew up in a big family. So where did you fall in the lineage? Like the
pecking
youngest,
Yeah.
the oldest,
6th of 7.
6th of 7.
Wow. Girls, boys, what's the whole damn thing?
So 4 boys and 3 girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many nieces and nephews? Any idea?
A lot. Over 20. Yeah.
That's
Holy
cool. That's the
smokes.
way it used to be when we grew up, though. A lot of it was like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think it's like 30 actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 20 first cousins.
Oh yeah, I had a lot on the
Yeah,
Patterson
so that's
side.
my kids have all these.
That's
first
so
cousins
nice.
All over,
That's cool.
spread out all over the place, but it's great.
Is most of your family still in Pittsburgh, or did they?
No, really. I think you guys alluded to this, like
Yeah.
early. When I think I just caught your first go around, like when we were growing up and then graduating college. There weren't a lot of opportunities in Pittsburgh.
Right.
That's for sure.
So I have 2 sisters in Boston.
Yeah.
I have a brother in Virginia. I have another sister in Columbus. So, we're kind of like spread out. And I think the reason for that mainly is that's where like the opportunities were.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Right.
So, and so for me, I'd love to see, all my kids.
You
stick
seen any of your
around.
nieces and nephews come back to Pittsburgh or what?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
My one nephew's from Philly, went to Pitt and stayed
Stayed
here.
Right.
My other niece from Boston went to Pitt, just graduated. I think she wants to stay here,
Right.
Finding a job and
Cool.
things like that. But
Cool.
I think once they get here, they kind of see it's
Yeah,
a pretty
there's
good
jobs
place to
here
be.
now, right?
Yep.
There wasn't when we were getting out of college. They were few and far between.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone seemed to go to Maryland, like down into D.C. and
Philly,
Boston,
right.
New York.
Yeah, a lot of teachers to
Yeah.
Maryland, right?
Yeah.
couldn't- it's tough finding a job in city schools and stuff like that. So
Yeah, crazy.
yeah. So that's
Is Maureen is teaching still?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was just wondering, because I knew she was a teacher.
Yeah, she's a kindergarten teacher.
That's
so,
good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where you mentioned somewhere where you grew up, right?
Yeah, I grew up in North Oakland.
Right.
So I always say till I was probably until I got married, I could always see the Cathedral of Learning.
Yeah,
out
that's
of the-
Pittsburgh, by the way. University of Pittsburgh area, if you don't know what he's talking
out of
about.
the front, out of my front door.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like Dan Marino was the hero probably when you were little.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
Tony Dorsett, Dan Marino.
Hugh Green.
Hugh Green.
So
Right.
we would be on our street, like playing football.
Right.
Like we called it T-pole to T-pole, right?
Telephone pole to telephone pole.
That was those were the end zones, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know, it'd be like a Saturday afternoon, and you could hear like the public address announcer.
The games.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know? And then, you know, naturally we'd, you know, sneak up there and go to the games and stuff like that. Get some great tales from all that stuff. But, you know, that was where, you know, you were in the thick of
Pittsburgh,
of
man. You were right
stuff.
in it, man.
So
There was
you're
a fraternity house on my street, you know.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Funny. So you're telling kids to go out for a pass, do a button hook at like the Pacer or the Pinto.
Yeah. We had the plays we came up with.
Yeah.
Were unbelievable.
Yeah.
We'd use like the license plate, you know. We'd
Yeah.
Be like, you know, we'd be like, you know, GHC 2342.
Off the license
we're
plate.
Like, we're like, that guy parked like 3 feet off the curb. So we'd say, go up and right behind there and catch it.
Yeah.
It was 2-hand tab. And you'd run between the curb and the car, and your defender was like, where'd he go? You know what I mean?
The car was the blocker.
Yeah.
That's city living, baby.
And another play, I mean, it's, you know, you can't make this stuff up, but we would just like, it'd be like 4th and long, and we're like, all right, just go down to that car and just stand on top of it. and like you'd run up the trunk, be on the hood, someone would throw
Zing
it,
you the
just
ball.
over
Yeah.
the cars till you got to the end zone.
Imagine that. Imagine that today.
Oh, unbelievable! Yeah, you know, people would be coming out.
Well, there weren't too many new cars around Pittsburgh back in the day.
No, it was all that pig iron.
Second
you couldn't
dent it.
anyway.
secondhand rust buckets is what they
but
were.
But if you did run on there, the hood was like made of steel.
boom, boom.
You couldn't dent it if you tried.
You'd fall through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Those were,
Are your parents from here?
yeah, my dad grew up in Oakland, you know.
Wow.
What I mean? So he lived like 4 blocks or 3 blocks from where we grew up, you know. My mom was from Dormont, so not far from there. You know, it's kind of a typical Pittsburgh story. Now I live here, you know, and I live probably like 3 miles from my front door that I grew up in. I work about a mile from there.
Nothing wrong with
I
that.
always tell people, everyone told me I'd never get far in life. and I'm proving them right.
Yeah, amen, brother.
hell, we're probably within a mile 2 miles.
Yeah,
of probably
not
where
far.
we were
Not
born
far.
and raised.
We still got Irwin addresses.
Yeah, we still have our own addresses.
Important, right? You know,
Huh?
like it's important. right?
Yeah, a lot of our friends have moved away, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Dubs and I were the 2 of the ones that gutted it out, right?
Yeah, right.
Suck it
That's what I say about like my family.
Yeah.
You know, like they all moved around. I'm like, all right, I'll figure this out. I'm glad I did though.
I don't regret it at all.
Me neither. But you were telling me at lunch that your dad was in the Marine Corps before he became a civil engineer, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, not by choice, I guess. You know,
Yeah,
like when
right.
he graduated high school, it was World War II, and
Wow.
so like I tell my kids, right? Can you imagine right now if you just graduate high school and the next thing you know, you're in the Marines and you're on a ship in the South Pacific somewhere?
Shit.
You know?
Yeah.
That kind of gives you
Perspective.
a perspective I don't really
Right.
have. He didn't talk about it, so I never thought about it. But then every now and then I'm like, can I imagine that? You know, no
So
way.
he really never talked about the war, huh?
I honestly
Yeah.
don't have any, you know, knowledge of what he
Nothing.
did. Nope. He would say, it was towards the end of the war. So
he never-
I was just like going, you know, we didn't do much. That's kind of like what I remember.
Yeah, a lot of them didn't talk about it, you know, for a lot
Yeah.
of different various reasons, right?
Now, an interesting thing about his dad too, he came back and used the GI Bill,
Nice.
yeah, and got educated and became a civil engineer,
Yeah.
which was, you know, that kind of unheard of. You know, going to
Oh yeah.
college back
His
then.
generation for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
So he had 2 older brothers that were probably 10 years older than him.
Yeah.
Well, he had 3 older brothers. One became a priest. I mean,
Yeah.
very typical
Irish guy
family,
from
yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Right.
Yep,
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
And 2 of them were in the war. And when he came back, you know, they were bartenders or working for the city or
Right.
something like that.
Right.
And they're like, and he's like, all right, yeah, I'll work at the bar. And they're like, no, you're going to college. And he's like, well, look at you guys. They're like, no. So they kind of
Right.
made him.
He was a little brother.
Yeah.
Ah.
He was the youngest, and they made him do it. And, you know, I think it was clearly the right move.
Oh, good for him.
Did he go to Pitt there? Or?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fantastic.
he probably walked it probably took them 4 minutes to get to.
You went to Pitt too?
No,
No.
I went to Villanova.
Villanova, that's
Oh, you
right.
went to Philly.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, it's a great school.
That's wild.
Yeah, I always tell people like, there's no way they'd let me in now, but
Yeah.
Right.
it looks good, you know.
Yeah. I almost went there, believe it or
Yeah.
not. They were just starting a new football program. They didn't have one. It was going to be the first or second year.
Yeah, I remember
That's right.
that.
That was my freshman
Freshman
year.
year,
Was
yeah.
the first year they brought football
Back. Because
Yeah.
Howie Long played it for Villanova. And then
Howie Long did?
yeah,
Yeah.
but then they shut the program down.
Ah.
And then they restarted it in 1985.
Yeah, which
I
would have
think.
been our
Freshman year.
Wow.
And I got recruited by them. But I went to Gatorland with
Yeah.
your brother-in-law.
Allegheny, baby.
Yeah, Allegheny Gators. Yeah, for about a year. And then they said, time for you to leave Allegheny.
Asked you to take your talents elsewhere.
They took me to, so I took them to Pitt,
Yeah.
where you could be anonymous.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You went from
1,800 kids,
to
Yeah.
18,000.
1,000. Yeah, it was easier to
And there was a
hide.
lot of nutcases there, so you could just blend right in with the rest
yeah,
of them.
you
You, know
just-
what I mean? It's just another goofball.
You were just, even if you were crazy, you were normal.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about when you were a kid, like what you did. Were your brothers close to your age? Were you play with them, or did you play with neighborhood kids? Did you play baseball? What did you do in Pittsburgh? Like we grew up in these suburban little baseball fields and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about growing up in
Oakland.
In Oakland.
Well, I mean, it was chock full of kids
Yeah.
and characters.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know,
Oh, I
and
bet.
siblings. But like my street was somewhat famous for a couple reasons. At one point, and I was kind of at the end of the boom of kids, you
Right.
know.
Right.
But at one point, there were my street was 2 blocks long.
Okay.
And
Right.
So a street that dissected it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there were over 100 kids on our
Two
street.
in a 2-block
Yeah,
area.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah. I mean, what the heck?
So what they did was the street that dissects it,
Wow.
Yeah.
they made it one way this way and one way that way.
Ah.
I think it's the only street in Pittsburgh that's like that.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it's a 2-block long street, but it's one way, 2 separate ways.
Oh.
Because if people were flying,
They
up
didn't
and
want you
down,
cruising in front of all those kids.
banging, you know. So yeah, it's kind of unique. But yeah, there were, sports, right? I told you earlier we
Mostly on the street then.
yeah, we play football in the street, you know.
Yeah.
Released. You guys ever play?
Oh,
this?
yeah,
Oh,
Release.
yeah.
So
Now, did
like, just
you
think
what
about
did they call it? Did you call it release the Belgium, or did you call it release
it.
just
call it
release?
Release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all.
'Cause some people call it release the Belgium, and I don't even know what the hell that means.
Yeah.
What is it? Belgium.
Yeah, I'm like I tried to
Look
look
that up someday.
I did. I looked
What's
it up.
Belgium was, kid?
I looked it up last night. It don't have-
Belgium.
I think I had the wrong-
D-R-U-M.
I don't know. That's what people said.
It
Maybe
could have had that like sort of
it could have been-
Pittsburgh accent.
it could have been anything.
You know.
It could have been something Dutch, and we had no idea what the hell.
yeah, it could
really
be
was.
Belgium for all I
Right.
know. I don't know, but I couldn't find it. I could find release on the internet, and I could find kick the can, which is the same thing as release.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
right,
basically play
similar.
hide and seek, right? And then you have a home base, right? And then you capture these.
capture
Right.
everybody, and then like one, if you hit them, you release it. and
Right, right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
So we'd have massive
Games of
release
that.
games.
Yeah, with
You know,
100 kids.
Everyone's house was fair game.
And you had a
Maybe
boundary, though.
backyards. Yeah, that's funny too, because you would say, our 2 streets,
Yeah.
our street, and
Stay in the
backyards.
blocks.
And we had a Dairy Queen behind our house. It was like on Center Avenue.
On 7 Avenue,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you'd be going around like looking for everybody.
And there's people trying to buy
And
ice
you'd be
cream.
Like if you couldn't find them,
You knew they were
were
the
somewhere, and you could look over this one person's backyard, and you'd see like 4 or 5 people in there, like waiting in the line.
Oh, yeah, to get ice cream.
Mid game, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
you're out,
You're
you
out
guys
of
are
the game.
Yeah.
You cheated.
But that was always a thing. And then, just some magical moments where like the big dude on the block, there's like, or the fastest guy.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's caught, right? And there's like one guy's your savior, and you like, he's like
Juking
out,
everybody.
Right.
And you're like a little kid. And
You're
he's
like, come on, man. You can
I'm
do
like
it.
7, and he's like 14, and he does it. You're like,
Yeah.
never forget it. you
Yeah.
know?
Right. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
history making. It's a
And you're
time.
released, and you're all running wild again.
Yeah. So we did that, and then baseball like every day.
Yeah.
There was a school around the corner that had a
field.
field,
Uh-huh.
and it was like 11 o'clock.
Every
show
day.
up every day, and like you weren't calling people or texting them. Right?
Yeah.
You just show up, and you'd have like some days you'd have 12, so you can't hit the right field.
Right.
Sometimes you'd have a full, boat and you'd play the whole deal, or you had to supply your own pitcher or own catcher.
Right.
Doubles only, like if you had like 4-on-4, you'd like no right field, doubles only.
Right.
You just like adapt to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, we would, so that was like between the football on the streets and the baseball release and, basketball.
It's wild to trust. I mean, I guess the news wasn't scaring the hell out of people back then as much. But to trust your parents, your mother was probably just cooking and your dad went to work and you guys came home. Sooner or later, they'll roll in around X time to eat and I'll throw food in them and they go back out, right?
Yeah. And it seemed like everyone had a paper route.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
So,
Heck
we'd
yeah.
start at noon or whatever. Probably ate lunch,
Right.
whatever. And then at the bottom of the field was a apartment building.
Yeah.
And you'd see the Pittsburgh press truck stop, throw the papers off, game over. That was like the last kid had his paper out there.
Oh,
Does that mean everyone else got theirs delivered already?
I
so
got
you'd
you.
end it, and everyone would go to their little spot, deliver their papers, eat, and figure it out meet again after.
It's a
dinner.
good life, man.
Yeah.
It's a good upbringing right
How
there,
about
buddy.
with the delivering the papers, the collecting thing? That was
Yeah.
crazy. Like people would say, I'm just not going to pay you.
Yeah.
And you'd be
or
like,
they
oh,
wouldn't
I'm
be
Mr.
home.
Smith. We're like 2 weeks behind.
Yeah. You had to collect the money, man.
Yeah, you don't think about it. I remember them having a contest, right? Like, like you don't like everyone did it, and like I said, I was kind of like one of the younger ones. So
Yeah.
like they did
Yeah.
it. I'm just doing it because
That's what
what everyone does, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And but you had to go and knock on someone's door. You had to, you have the little tickets.
Oh, yeah, them
Yeah,
tickets.
remember,
That
that's
was the
It was
right.
on a ring.
Yeah.
Yep, it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you would give them their ticket, and then sometimes they wouldn't pay, so you wouldn't give them the ticket until the next time
Yeah,
you come by.
so you'd have everyone's tickets ripped off, and then you'd have
Right.
one that was long at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
This guy's
Mr. Smith, who
hasn't
doesn't come to the door.
answered his door in a month, you know. And they would have like this is funny. They would have like if you got 4 new customers, like you could win a prize.
Right.
And I remember getting like this book, and there was this like a knife in there.
Oh,
and
okay.
I still have this thing.
Really?
No kidding.
I still have it. It's in my tool box that I don't use.
Right.
But it had
You lost me a tool.
a spoon.
You're a tool.
Yeah, you should know.
Yeah, I appear to be a tool, but I don't know how to use a tool.
It had a spoon,
Yeah.
fork,
Oh, like
a
a
saw,
you got the like the
Swiss
the
Army
knife,
yeah, Boy Scout
yeah,
thing.
Swiss
it was
Army knife with
but it
all the
was-
stuff
yeah,
in
but
it.
it was like,
Oh, the
Monster.
big thing.
Oh,
Yeah, you had all
wow.
them things on
and I
there.
was like, I want that thing. I want to get it. And they're like, just get 4 new customers. you know?
Wow.
I was like, I had a couple of little apartment buildings. I was like, you want to get the paper?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, and then I was like,
It's
I didn't
amazing.
care if they kept.
If you think of that concept, right, the trust they had in all the little kids around the town, right? And
Oh,
it was like
yeah.
this in every town and
to
city in
work their
America, right?
circulation or whatever.
The kids were
Delivery.
doing a lot. They were accounting. They were
Yeah, you're learning, like you're selling stuff.
You're
and
Yeah.
selling
then you have
things.
to, right? Like the guy, right? The guy that gives you your
Yeah.
bill each
Yeah,
week,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and then he'd come around on Saturday,
right.
and like take all this cash from you.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, all right, I need $40.50, and you're like,
Come through
you
those
know,
pennies.
Yeah.
and then whatever you had left
Was yours.
Was yours. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
Yeah, that's
you
wild.
knew, like you had a bill.
The whole
to pay.
country was like that.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine all the kids working and learning how to do that, right? Learning the responsibility of that.
Oh yeah, it's great.
And you're part of the collection. You were the collections department. You think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was special. I mean, you think about that. You learn so much about life. That's probably how you got your first sales
It's
experience.
probably- yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if
You know, you
think
got that.
about
You
it.
set the goal for that big penknife thing.
Yeah.
Well, not being able to talk to people, right? Just learning how to knock on a door and talk to
Yeah.
people is something that's probably becoming a lost art, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's definitely, I always think, boy, I wish my kids had that
Oh yeah.
opportunity because I don't think you would think like what you learned. But
Right.
You did. Like you said, You'd talk to anybody, right?
Yeah,
'Cause you
had
had
to.
right?
And I can remember not wanting to talk to certain people. One guy had this spooky house that was way back in. He was a vet from, I think, World War II, and he had a leg missing. You know, he had a little house, and you're like, ah. And I hated to bother him, but I was nervous and scared. But you had to do it. That again, you
Otherwise,
taught
you
about
come
getting
up
over.
short.
Oh yeah, you can't come up short because all your tip money goes to cover their bill.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
to get over your fear, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so you would learn that also, right? How to deal with those situations. That's wild.
Yeah, I had I wouldn't call it a scam, but I had a maneuver.
You had
We'll call it a scam.
No,
You'll
but
call it a
I'm
maneuver.
telling you, it was the greatest move ever. What I would do in the winter is I would go shovel people's driveway
Right.
and sidewalk, and I wouldn't even let them know I was doing it. I would just go shovel it, and then I'd knock on the door, and I'd ask for a donation. Said, I swear to you, like
donation.
I would. It was I came up with this idea.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now half the people would stiff you. You know, they'd be
Right.
like, I didn't ask you to do it. You just get out of here, kid.
Right. They probably didn't have any money, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden this kid's
But
doing
then
work
you-
in the yard.
Right.
But I remember the one lady, she gave me two the silver dollars with the big moon.
Oh,
on
yeah.
the back
Yeah.
and the bell or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like the Eisenhower one.
Yeah, silver
Yeah,
dollars.
it was
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
I still remember her name, Mrs. Dobis. She was
What'd you do with them?
I still have them.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, but no, I would do that, and maybe one out of two people would give you like $1 or 50 cents, and then the other ones would stiff you. But by the end of the day, if you did 10, you got $5. You know?
Yeah, you're living
$5
large.
was like a lot of money.
No, it's
Heck
funny
yeah.
to say that,
Yeah.
but it was. You could do a
I
lot
can
with that.
remember when
right?
a banana split hit $1 at Dairy Queen. My mother
yeah.
was like, "That's
it."
outrageous! $1."
Oh yeah. I remember hamburgers at McDonald's were 30
Yeah.
cents.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
30 cents.
Do you remember if you got an A on your report card? You probably don't
Oh, yeah.
remember this.
No,
you
Chris
probably
don't-
didn't get any A's.
Man,
But,
Oh yeah. You're right. I was a C student.
but
Me
if
either,
you,
by the way.
If you got an A on your report card at the end of the year, you could go to McDonald's and show them your
I do
yearbook
remember
or your-
that.
I
your,
do
report
remember
card.
that, right.
You get like a free cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And I remember fast food wasn't like it is now. Like like everywhere.
Yeah.
It was like McDonald's.
Yeah, it was a
and-
special trip.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my God, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we would
You put on your fancy clothes.
Yeah, we'd get your report cards at the end of the, and then you'd
Yeah.
plan. All right, let's go tomorrow, and you'd walk down to Ford's Avenue. In
I probably
Oakland
Chris and I weren't
cash it
Chris
in.
and I weren't walking down there with it. We were probably trying to steal the burger off you when you left.
Yeah.
No.
Hey kid, let me see that report card. You got any A's?
Or I would change that report card to get my burger.
Yeah.
I remember that when Chaz used to we would go to McDonald's if we ever had money,
Right.
which was never. But let's say we had some once.
Mm-hmm.
He would eat a Big Mac down to one bite left,
Right.
and he'd find an ant or something or a bug.
Oh, no, sir.
He put it in the thing. And
Chaz Hendy?
Yeah, and he'd go up to the counter and go, "I can't believe this. There's an insect in my hamburger." Or
Yeah, a
Big Mac.
bug.
And they'd be like, "Oh my God!" They take it. They give him a new one.
Yeah.
And then we'd all split it. We'd all cut it into four.
You get a hamburger.
We get
Nice.
1/4 of a hamburger.
He's a preacher now, isn't
Oh
he?
yeah, Chaz is the greatest.
He is a
Yeah.
good dude. man.
Greatest. Yeah, he's a preacher.
We
But
got to get him on
we
here.
didn't have any dough. I mean, literally.
It was
You were-
always
you were-
scrambling, man.
You were hungry.
Scrambling.
Yeah. So
I can remember going up to, there was a Tasty Freeze near me, and we were going up, and I didn't have any money. My neighbors, they always had a little bit of money. Their dad was I think he was a foreman in a mill, so he was always employed, right? We're walking up, and I found I don't know if it was $1. I found something on the road walking to Tasty
it's like a
Freeze.
miracle.
It was a miracle.
You're
I
like-
it was a sign from God, man.
I was gonna say, it was meant to happen.
It was, yeah, I was like, whoa. People talk about miracles. That was a miracle
Oh, yeah.
right there.
miracle.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, my one buddy found Kennywood. Oh no, we were going to get. Remember when you would get Kennywood tickets?
Yeah.
There was a day to buy your Kennywood
Yeah,
tickets, which,
yeah.
by the way, is a local amusement park here in Pittsburgh. It's been around like 150 years, right? Something
It's
like
been
that.
around a long time.
And you'd have a day where you bought your tickets, like first through third grade bought it Monday,
Right, yeah,
fourth
yeah,
through
yeah.
sixth bought it Tuesday, and we're going up. Yeah, we're
So
going
funny.
up there, and he finds like a $10 bill. Well, first of all, he finds a 4-leaf clover in the grass.
Who?
Ricky Gehring.
Gehring,
We're
your
walking
neighbor,
up to school.
okay.
He finds a 4-leaf clover, and we're like, "Holy crap, a 4-leaf clover!" Because stuff like that, you're outside a lot.
Yeah.
And then he found like a $10 bill on Kennywood Day.
Oh my God.
So he came back. He was stacked with Kennywood.
Tickets.
Remember the tickets, right?
God.
Yeah,
The book.
the Thunderbolts 4.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, I don't know. I got to ration this stuff.
Yeah,
down.
right. I still want to ride the log jammer.
And I was so close. He was right beside me. He found the $10, and it could have been
yours,
me, but it wasn't.
That had to be
yours.
like 100 now. I mean,
Oh my! It was
$10 was a
huge.
world.
That was huge.
Speaking of Kennywood, right,
Yeah.
which is like Western Pennsylvania thing, right? I mean, did you guys have like the outfit and
You dressed up a little bit. Oh yeah.
And we always like I still say this, and I don't think people like get it. Like if I'd have showed up here with like a red shirt and a white hat, or you had the same thing, I'd be like, "What are you two going to Kennywood?"
Well, I'm brand new at State Farm, and we're at a Pirate game. You know, they rented a box or something like that for agents that had so many cells or something like that. So he comes out of the bathroom. I don't know who he is from Adam. I just know he got a suit on, and he got his zippers down, and the white shirt's coming out.
Oh, jeez.
You know what I mean?
It's like, hello, I'm here.
Yeah. And I go to him, hey, psst, Kennywood's open.
Did you?
Yeah. He's looking at me. I go, what are you talking about? I go, Kennywood, man. Kennywood's open.
He had no
He
idea.
goes, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I go,
because he wasn't
I
from
go, your
Pittsburgh.
fly's open. You know, he's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's like, you saved me. I said, well, Kennywood is, I had to explain to
I
him.
wonder how that even started. Right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Kennywood's open.
And then it went to
Whiz
Kennywood.
Kid, you got to find that out too. Why is Kennywood open? Why is that a bunch of fly? Who knows?
about your zipper being down.
Yeah.
But then people would extend it then. And
Yeah.
they'd say, you want to buy a hot dog? Kennywood's open. And then the person that would say that to, they would say it to you. Then you would come back to them and go, well, you want to buy a hot dog? And they'd be like, shut up, man.
Yeah.
The simple things. The simple things.
Next time on Fried Jumbo.
My one buddy, he was riding his bike. It's funny. He was riding his bike. This other kid was riding with his buddy on the back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hops off. He knocks my buddy off the bike and steals his bike.
Oh, my God.
But the kid who stole his bike was in 8th grade, and we were like in 6th grade.
Oh,
we
yeah.
knew him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
What are you doing, dude?
Like, we're like, go tell.